Hello, it's July 12th, and today I'm reflecting on going in circles because I worked on this program starting at when I first started, I was writing out like what the Haizhen transformation would be. And then I went in a huge whole circle, kind of like I had a nice, succinct idea. And then I took it and I kept adding to it and then adding to it. And then it started to change. And then it started to grow in scope. And then it was like, oh, like maybe I need to do this and add this. And then eventually I took what was intended to be like a niched down, like specific solution for a specific group of people, and then broadened it out to everybody, added everything back in, and then realized that it was like too much. It was getting overwhelming. What I realized I was doing was taking, um, rather than sharing and teaching what's useful immediately, I was like in a mode of like, I want to teach you like everything from start to finish. Um, and it it took some time to come back around to understanding that if I am doing, like, I'm not responsible for doing everything, and you likely don't need all of the information to get to some type of result for yourself. Said more specifically, like you don't need to know all the background of hypnosis, all the different inductions, all the different like nuances that go into like hypnotic work to have a successful hypnotic intervention. So, like if we're working on confidence, if you're looking at some limiting belief, like I'm not good enough, or something like that, like I'm feeling the need to prove myself, or um, I just have too many thoughts that I um, can't follow. Right, I'm getting overwhelmed. Um, you can work on like all of these things without actually knowing how it works. It's almost like you learn to walk like through practicing, and then eventually you just walk without thinking about it. And you can move past your own stuff without thinking about it. You don't even have to know. Um, you don't even have to know that the problem's gone, right? Like sometimes it's just you forget that you had that problem to begin with. That happens from time to time. I think, like, even for myself, looking back, one of the things that I've had to do while going through this whole process is reflect back on where I was. Because, like, today I feel um, comfortable and confident in spaces. So, like, whether it's work, whether it's like in interviews, whether it's um, in meetings, or just meeting new people in general, there's a lot less like worry and anxiety of like, oh, like what am I going to do? What do I have to say? How am I going to come across to this person? It's a lot easier to show up. And then even like from like 30 days ago or so until now, I'm a lot more comfortable just right. So if I were to go like all the way back, like thinking, and I'm like, one of the things I do is just go all the way back, like back thinking about, like where the root of all of this started when I was a child, right? But that's such a long story. Um, if even skipping ahead to like to trying to think, like, is it high school that I can remember well, or like university, any like situation meeting new people, there was always like this like barrier. I guess two. One barrier of like not knowing what to say, and then a second barrier of wanting to be liked. So then it's kind of like I would do the things and say the things that I thought I needed to say for people to like me, whatever that meant. Um, and eventually, at some point, I realized it doesn't matter. People are going to think what they're going to think, um, and I can't fit into like I can't keep playing like different roles per se. Not that there's not flexibility there, but I need to know how to show up as myself. Otherwise, then who is being me if not me? So that's like a lot different now. And I think a similar thing is happening with this process of like becoming something. I realized one of the things I don't fully understand yet is what I am specifically becoming. Like, what is this? Is it like, am I now like a content creator, or am I doing this for fun to promote and talk about my business and the coaching work that I do? Or is it like a fun pastime? Is it a hobby? I mean, like, there's some intentionality to it, right? Like, this is, well, I guess technically this is like documenting my own journey, but my own journey specifically in this thing, I guess. It's again that like um that feeling the need to like separate and classify and like have things be distinct, like this is specifically this or that. Um and maybe that's just a function of feeling like putting these messages out there is like kind of like anybody can see them, they're out forever type of thing. So then it almost feels like if I like say something or do something that gets like misunderstood, then it seems like a huge headache. At the same time, people will misunderstand you anyways. And like with the scale of this, like, does it matter? I mean, if it mattered, then I wouldn't do it. So like there's something there where it's like I'm doing this thing. I know that I'm not doing anything um, with the intention of harming people. Uh, I'm actually here with the opposite intention. So what I've come to I guess, full circle is after going through all of the like simplifying it down, getting specific, and then like broadening everything back out again. Like it's scope creep, right? And I think that's why it's easy, because if you look and you start and you have like one little problem, and then you're like, oh, there's this other tiny problem that's like just outside. I can do that too. I can do that too. I can do that. I can do all of these things. Then eventually, sure, it's true that you can do all of those things. Whatever that you think you can do, you can do. But then if you start pulling all of those things in, then you literally will get nothing done. That's what I'm noticing right now. So the other pattern that I had noticed was I was feeling like I was rushing around again. And specifically with this work, I felt like I was kind of like all over the place, and I started like trying to race and rush, because I had originally like looked at a timeline or a launch date of July 31st, a couple weeks away, probably fine still. But like it felt like, even though it's kind of early, maybe almost like 1/3 of the way through July, but it it felt like a pressure or a deadline that I didn't need, and then it just threw me off. I just started going all over the place. So I'm slowing down. I'm pausing. I'm clearing away, just getting organized. I think that's the process that's kind of happening and unfolding after the last 18 months. So it's good. It's good to realize that every so often, if you find that you're just like rushing around and doing things and you can't remember why, and you can't remember where you are, and you don't know what's going on anymore, maybe just pause. Just pause for a moment and see what happens, right? Like you could either rush around and stress out and then get nothing done, or you can pause and try to figure it out and also get nothing done. The outcome will could be the same, but as you go through that process, you might feel different. And then because you feel differently, the outcome will probably feel different as well. So the great thing about like coming back around to this is then I've taken the program that's in my head, and instead of trying to download everything that I know into your head, because it won't be important for you, it's to pick out the pieces that are specifically useful for you for the specific transformation that I'm offering. And it sounds like silly saying it now, but um, it's one of those things like when you're in a problem, when you're in like a bubble, it's hard to see outside that bubble. So I see that now. I see that now. So then I've kind of like tailored down the Haizhen transformation first to and it's starting again. So like originally it was to help bedrock leaders and creatives rediscover, what was it, like find the them that they left behind or something like that. Like basically like find yourself. But that's a little bit like nebulous. So let's say to help bedrock leaders move from burnout to brilliance. That's it. Nice and simple. And I also love the idea of creatives, like creators and other people doing creative pursuits, to talk about that as well. So that's a whole other thing. But I have a thought for that. I have so basically the program Haizhen Transformation is to help leaders and creatives move from burnout to brilliance. Then the first part of it is to be seen clearly by yourself and for others. So I will teach you how to be yourself. That's with the Shore to Core experiment. I'll teach you how to see, which is share the way that I see things, my perspective that you could also adopt. And this is really about looking at the world through models, not through absolute truths or even relative truths. It's just looking at models as an idea of a way of like interacting with your reality or perceptions. And if it's basically, you would use a model that's useful for you. So it doesn't matter whether the sun rises in the east or the west, but if you know that information, and you say model that, you could know how to use that information later on. And then clearly it will be the first kind of reflection into your like personal embodied state, looking at a feeling, meaning, action cascade, and then beginning to identify what's feeling, what's meaning, and what's action. Which parts are you engaging in? Because sometimes we have feelings that we label with meanings that are not the most useful for us. So if we're labeling it with a meaning that's not useful, that may not be a useful model. So then let's switch it. The other thing is to look at the root cause of the feeling and see what the actions that led to those feelings are. This is a circle. And basically your actions are yes or no. If you have a series of decisions, your actions will be either yes to engage in that or no not to engage in that. Rather than like, do I want to ride a bike or run? It's yes or no, I will run, or yes or no, I will ride a bike. And if going through that way, then you can just easily kind of take that feeling, meaning, action cascade and see which parts, like when you start to notice that clearly, then you can do something about it. The next step is the transformation step, which is to dissolve limiting beliefs. Basically, you'll be carrying beliefs, and some beliefs are useful for you and other beliefs are not. And the ones that limit you are not for you to carry. Oftentimes they come from somewhere other than yourself. And this is where we'll look at conditioning in the human design chart, as well as our kind of like thought box, our head. our self-talk, basically. So self-talk is almost like your conscious limiting beliefs. And then there are also limiting beliefs that come from feelings that are not just from the mind. They're just like, when your body freezes up and you don't know why. There may be themes around that, and that's where we'll use your human design chart to explore some of the challenges of open and defined energy centers. The last step is brilliance, and brilliance is talking about how you show up in the world. This is how you will shine. So for leaders, it will be to look at your resume, your cover letter, your interview, like how you show up, and then how you show up in different formats. So like maybe like this as well. And like how do you get to a point where you can show up authentically on camera? So all of this is moving you towards your most aligned, most authentic self. And the assumption is when you are operating from that, then you will be always in your signature. You will be the you that you're meant to be. So that's kind of like the 3-step program that I've just roughly outlined and thought about yesterday after slowing down. And I think that's much nicer than trying to teach you everything about hypnosis or everything about human design. Like the depth and the detail is there if you want it, but in the actual program itself, like just to keep it nice and tight, and then talking about it will be a lot easier. So rather than trying to talk about every single thing that I've ever thought, at least for those messages, it'll be more focused. So that should be fun. So that's what I'm going to be doing over the next little while, and we'll see. I think that the theory is always that if you have a more specific message, it will land better with people who need to hear it. I've been talking in like very broad terms, and now it's time to get specific. Let's go.